Well, hello there folks, Dr. Grimes here again, and this video is intended to give you some information about the syllabus. If you haven't already read it, you certainly want to pause the video to go look at it, but I'd encourage you to pause the video also if you haven't printed it, because you might want to make some notes on this as I'm talking. I'll pause here just a second, and then I will resume. Okay, I assume that if you hadn't already printed it, you have printed it now, and that you are prepared to listen intelligently as hopefully I talk intelligently. And I'm trying to, trying to mute my phone as I do this to make sure that I don't get disturbed while we do this video. At any rate, it's Monday, April the 22nd as I record this video. You're not watching it until the early stages of June, so that's a disclaimer that there's always the possibility that I make some little tweaks to the syllabus after I record this video. I just felt like it was in pretty good order, and it was a good enough time, since I don't have anything on my calendar for a little bit, to go ahead and cover the basics of the syllabus so that you know what to expect. Nothing really significant on the first page. Other than that, I give you my GSW email address, but they really want, they being the School of Business or the College of Business and Computing, whatever we're called now, Dr. Wilson, the Dean, want all of our correspondence to be through Georgia View, so that there, or GoView in the case of the online classes, so that there's an audit trail. In the past, I've encouraged folks to email me to my Radar account, because I could get it directly to my phone, and it's a little harder to do that. So I can't respond as quickly to email through GoView, but there's an audit trail in GoView. So I give you my GSW address. If you want to ask me about advising or life or things like that, by all means use my gsw.edu. But if you have questions about the class, send them to me through GoView, and I'll respond to you through GoView. But also keep in mind that if you email me to my Radar account, I can sometimes respond within moments, but if you email my GoView account, it's going to wait until I actually log into GoView. So give me a little more time when you respond to that. The phone number in the upper right-hand corner, the 9380513, is my cell phone number, and you have my permission to text me or to call me. I'll trust you not to do it real frequently because I might be in the middle of something family-oriented, but certainly text me if you have a question, or if you need to see if it's a convenient time to talk, and I'll give you an idea of when it would be convenient if that particular moment is not. Page number 2, again, nothing really significant other than up at the very top, there is no textbook that you have to buy for this class. It is an online text, and it is absolutely free. You're going to read a lot of little sections of the online text, and for each of the sections, in the content section of our class, I give you a link that you can click on, which takes you straight there. So no cost for the textbook, but there are 3 exams that are administered through ProctorU. And if you've already watched the self-pace video, you know that you can work ahead in this class instead of having to do a particular assignment on a particular day. The way that ProctorU works, if you've had online classes before, you know this. If this is new to you for online business classes, generally you have to make an appointment with ProctorU for a specific day and time, and that appointment generally needs to be made at least 3 days in advance so they can schedule their staffing. Within 3 days, you have to pay penalties for shorter turnaround times, but it's only like $3.75 per test if it's still more than 24 hours before you want to take the test. If you want to take a test same day, or 15 hours from now or something, there's like an $8 and some odd service charge that you have to pay. The block of access codes, or the bundle of access codes that you purchase through the bookstore, covers the cost of the exams minus any cost associated with short turnaround times. So once you've paid for the tuition, once you have paid for the ProctorU codes, there's no cost to you for the testing unless you want to be able to do a test this time tomorrow or later on today. And then you might have a $3, $8, whatever charge. So try to give ProctorU a little bit of notice if you possibly can, to make sure that they get you covered and they're ready for you. Next thing on that page is the attendance verification. When you first log into class here, all you really see are a string of videos that I want you to watch, some files that I want you to read through, and then you've got access to a Hello discussion board and access to a check-in quiz. And you need to do both of those by 11:59 p.m. on Monday, June the 10th, as you see here on page 2 of your syllabus. Those two things trigger everything else in the class. Until you've done those two things, nothing else shows up. But once you've done both of those things, the reading for the first session shows up, the reading for the second section, the first quiz, all that kind of stuff is targeted to where the completion of a certain thing opens up access to additional things. So go ahead and get that introductory message done on the Hello discussion board and the check-in quiz done as soon as you possibly can, and then you can actually start working on the course. On page 3 of the syllabus, you'll see the suggested timeline or calendar for the class. Also on the home page, there is an announcement that tells day by day, all 5 days of the week, all 7 weeks of the semester, what you ought to be working on that day if you're trying to stay on pace. And it blocks out like this on a calendar. Again, you can work ahead, and I encourage you to work ahead and finish the class by the end of June if you possibly can. But you can see from that block schedule that there are, looks like 15 chapters. We're not covering chapter 8, and we're not doing much in chapter 1. So really about 13 and a half chapters that we cover. Those 13 and a half chapters constitute 25 quizzes, 10 questions, true, false, multiple choice. In some cases, the question says put D to the answer to this question. In some cases, it is, which of these 4 is the name of your teacher? In some cases, it's true or false, Georgia Southwestern is located in Florida. So in most quizzes, well over half of them, there are 10 questions, but some of them are just, you really got to be asleep to miss them. So don't worry so much about the fact that there's 25 quizzes. They're not real difficult. And the quiz allows you to look on the internet, look at your online reading materials, look at the PowerPoints, all that kind of stuff. You have 20 minutes to answer 10 questions, so it shouldn't be too bad at all. There are also 29 assessments. They're targeted to certain types of material. So one particular lesson in Chapter 7 might not have any assessments, and one particular lesson in Chapter 10 might have 3 assessments. It just varies according to what the content is of that particular lesson. You also see 5 different activities. I call them concept activities, and they tie back on the first page to some of the learning objectives. For example, number 4 learning objective says to develop a process to improve motivation in an organization by utilizing ideas and various motivational theories. So one of the concept activities is going to say, suppose that you work in an organization that's made up of this demographic group of people. Think about those motivational theories, Herzberg and Maslow and expectancy and all those kinds of things, and try to come up with some sort of a program that will target each group of workers that you have to get them motivated. So it's going to be pull from this information, pull several different things, write me a little page or so of information that addresses the idea. Then there are 4 exams, one of which is the final. The first 3 use ProctorU, the 4th one does not. Each of the first 3 is designed to be done in 60 minutes or less. Once you get logged into ProctorU, they verify who you are. They key in the password to the exam. From that point, you've got 60 minutes to finish it. And generally, it's not too hard. It's 45 or 50 questions, mostly multiple choice, true, false, a lot of which you saw on the quizzes, but no notes, no access to PowerPoint, no computer access. It's all from memory. There may be a couple of short little essay questions, depends on the test. The final exam is not ProctorU. It's generally set up to be about 2 hours, I think. It may be 1 hour and 15 minutes, I forget. I haven't designed it yet. But it'll pull largely from the questions from the first 3 tests. So what you really want to be looking for here in terms of this video and understanding is that 25 quizzes are worth 10 points each. That's 250 points. But that 250 points, is weighted to be 25% of your grade. Now there's going to be a separate video where I give you access to a file and tell you how you can calculate your own grade so that you never have to wonder about where you stand. The assessment recaps, there's 4 of them. For each of those assessments, you see in that calendar above you that 1 is on one line, 2, 3, and 4 is on one line, and then there's an asterisk. Every time you see an asterisk, one of these assessment recaps is due. And basically that assessment recap is going to say, think about all the assessments you've done since the last assessment recap and write for me a little bit about some of the things that you've learned. Talk about some of the assessments. Notice that the third block goes from 14 through 22. You don't have to talk about all 9 of those things or whatever it is, but pick 2 or 3 of them that you really saw some interesting things about yourself. You kind of learned a little bit about yourself, and talk to me about what you learned. Shouldn't be too difficult. 15 points apiece, 60 total points. That's 15% of your grade. The exams are 100 points each, 400 total points, but it's 35% of your grade. And the concept activities, 5 of them worth 20 points each for 100 points, but that's 25% of your grade. So again, in a separate video, I'm going to talk through how to calculate your grade at any point in time. I'm going to give you access to an Excel file that you can save and that you can key in numbers as you go, and it'll do all the math for you. There should be no question at the end of the semester what your grade is. And as long as we both have the same numbers in the same cells, we'll have the same total when we get there. 2 opportunities for bonus. One of those opportunities is the check-in quiz at the beginning of the semester. You do it and you get a point. You don't do it, not only do you not get a point, but none of the rest of the class comes open. So you need to make sure that you do that. Hopefully that kind of talks through all of the different pieces of the syllabus and the grading, with one idea that I really want to emphasize to you to make sure you understand there's no questions about. You can work ahead. You can also fall behind. But you have to have finished exam 1 by Monday, June the 17th at 11:59 p.m. Now understand that whatever comes after exam 1 will not open until you've done exam 1. And exam 1 will not open until you've done what's before exam 1. So if you keep doing things on a regular pace, everything goes smoothly. But if you put this thing off for a week or 2, then suddenly it's coming up to the deadline on exam 1. You haven't done all the things that come before that, and you don't have an option to take exam 1. If you miss an exam, you are not going to have the opportunity to go back and pick it up. You cannot make up exams. You cannot make up any prior work. And I hope that never happens. But if you do the first lesson or 2, and then you kind of get lazy or life gets in the way, and a week goes by and you haven't done anything, and when we get up on Monday, June the 17th, and you haven't taken that exam, and 11:59 comes, and suddenly it's Tuesday the 18th, and you haven't done that exam, you'll have to get in touch with me, and I'll have to go in through a backdoor programming site and give you access to whatever happens after exam 1. And everything before that's a 0. And at that point, you might think about withdrawing from the class. I'll find a way for you to move on ahead if you want to continue with the class, but you're not going to go back. You're not going to make up quizzes that you missed. You're not going to make up exams that you missed. You're not going to make up assignments that you missed. Everything's a 0 as of that point in time. The final grade is just based on where you fall mathematically after we've weighted everything and added things together. 90 and above is an A, so forth. Looking through the rest of the syllabus here on page 5, the late policy, just described that. You're not going to go back and make up things once that hard date has passed. But if you work ahead, you got the flexibility of taking a day and not doing anything and still being in good shape. You shouldn't be able to cheat on a Proctor U exam. I hope that you won't feel like you ought to or that you need to. This needs to be an assessment of how well you have learned and remembered and applied things. If we can prove that you have actually cheated on a Proctor U exam, people have tried and we're pretty good at catching them. But if we find out beyond any reasonable doubt that you have cheated on a Proctor U exam, there's a statement in there that says that that's going to be a 0. No questions asked, and I'm going to turn you into the academic folks. If you have to, but you don't necessarily fail the class. If you cheat twice, you're going to get an F in the class. On the last page, you've got access to the basic dates that things happen. Hopefully that you'll keep an open eye on that. I've also not only listed the things that are university-wide, but I've also put in the last date for exam 1, 2, 3, and the final. Actually, the assessment recaps and the concept activities, you want to go ahead and do and submit to their drop boxes right after they come open, but you have the flexibility on those to wait until the end of the semester and turn everything all in at once. It just makes it harder for me to grade it and give you good feedback on there. But quizzes have to be done right away, exams have to be done right away, but the assessment recaps and the concept activities, you can delay a little bit while you continue to read ahead and take quizzes ahead. Just don't let it pile too much on you. Well, I tried to talk through that a little bit quickly. In prior semesters, I've gone into so much more detail on this thing that these videos last 35 and 40 minutes, and I knew that you didn't want to do that. But I wanted you to understand what I'm expecting for this semester, especially for this shortened summer semester. If you've got questions about the syllabus that I haven't addressed, shoot me an email or put out on there. If you think it's a question that other people might have, there's going to be, if I haven't already created, I'll do it very shortly here now that I'm thinking about it. There should be an Ask Dr. Grimes discussion board. Go out there, create a post that asks your question. I can reply. Everybody can read it. And then if they've got the same kinds of questions, they'll have them answered before they have a chance to ask them. But give me a call, shoot me an email, post to the discussion board if you have a question. And hopefully everything that you had questions about, I've addressed through this video, and you're ready to get going. Again, let me encourage you to start off strong so that you can relax the last few weeks. Doing it the other way around puts a whole lot of pressure on everybody, including me, and I don't want a whole lot of pressure in the summer. The design here is that you can get this class, you can learn the material, you can get it out of the way, you can enjoy some of your summer without having to really rearrange your life too much. I'm glad that you've registered for the course. I hope that you learn a lot in the course of taking it, that I can be supportive and encouraging to you and available should you need me. I've got a few things on my calendar personally for my family throughout the summer. So there'll be times when I don't respond as quickly, but I'm going to try to log in on a regular basis, and I will encourage you to do the same. Again, questions, give me a call. Otherwise, good luck and get started. Bye for now.